Okay, so this video is going to be about not one, but three calculators in my collection. Two of which have a personal connection, and the last one, which is just strange, downright weird. Right, here we go. Okay, so let's just start with this one. This is a calculator, not this exact one, but this is the exact same design as a calculator that my uncle had, and it was the first calculator I ever really saw and touched and used. So you switch it on like that. It's battery operated. It's got a vacuum fluorescent display in it, so it lights up in glorious green. It's got 8 digits, if I remember correctly. There we go. And it's got the very basic functions, so you can add, you can take away, you can divide by, and you can multiply. And what more could you ever want out of a calculator? It's got a button on here which I must admit I don't know what it means and what it does. But that, for what would have been, what, about 1975, was a complete, mind-blowing that, the modern world sci-fi technology could be in your house and you could use a machine like this to do amazing mathematical calculations. By today's standards, of course, it's extremely basic. I'm guessing it was reasonably well made because it's, getting on for 50 years old now and it still works. I always loved this button design. This button design was very much of its time. You see these buttons pop up, I think, in the likes of Space 1999, and I have a feeling that they pop up in Moonraker at one point as well as part of a keypad. I just thought this design was fantastic. Anyway, so that's the first one. That's the, what is it, a Prinztronic 88P. Right, so that was my uncle's calculator. A couple of years later, so I'm guessing maybe 1978, my aunt bought me a calculator exactly like this one. The only thing I would say maybe as a difference is that I think mine was branded as Boots. I think mine said Boots calculator on there. Boots being a chemist that also sold all sorts of things. And this one doesn't have a vacuum fluorescent display, but I believe it has what is an LED display. But it's a tiny LED display, and it's actually got little magnifying glasses in front of the digits to make them bigger. I think again, right. Unfortunately, this has got a bit of a clicky keyboard. No, come on. Yeah, there we go. Goes to 8 digits. This is slightly interesting. Is if you override it, so for example, I'll try and multiply that by 10, it'll be, too much of a calculator to handle. So if I press equals on there now, it flashes to show you the error. Just so you know, if ever you see when this calculator is doing this, the dot is moved when you go into an overflow situation, and basically there's 8 digits after the dot. So the best estimation of this number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0. Which, fair enough, it's not too bad. Okay, now this one's got more features than the other one. This one's got a memory, so I can add something to the memory, press cancel, and then I can recall the memory. There we go. I can cancel the memory without doing any other functions. On some calculators, they put recall memory and cancel memory on the same button, so you press recall and you press it again to cancel it, but this does actually have 2 separate buttons. There's a button down here for clear last entry. But apart from the memory function, it is very similar in operation as to the old Prinztronic. Now this one is well and truly weird. From what I can make out, this one dates from about 1972. And the first thing to know about it is that it seems to be an integer calculator. Whereas with these you can do proper decimal calculations. This thing doesn't, although it does have a bit of a cheat mode, and I'll show you what I mean when I'm going wrong. So if I was to put in, say, 25 and go divide by 100 and equals, you'll see that it goes to 0.25, which is fair enough. But if I was to try to then divide by 10 and press equals, you'll see that it comes up with 002. In other words, it can only handle 2 decimal places. And like I say, I think it's a bit of a cheat in that what they've actually done, it's actually an integer calculator, but they've sort of put 2 decimal places on with a cheat using this button here. And indeed, if I push that button up, you'll see the decimal place just moves 2 positions over. And in this mode, if I was to go 25 divided by 10, the answer would be 2, because it's an integer calculator. So you have to use it with extreme caution, and it actually gets worse than that. If well, I don't know if you can see when you press that, but it's only got 6 digits. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So I want to put a calculation. I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to multiply it by 8, and I get the answer. But hang on, that's not the answer. It's actually thrown an error. There's more digits to the left. Now, to get the extra digits, you press this button here, and it shows the digits. So in actual fact, the answer is, let me just look at this properly. The actual answer is 2052696. But there's nothing on here that tells you that there's an extra digit, and unless you actually get into the habit of always pushing this button to check the overflow, it could really catch you out, I think. So that multiplied by that, there we go. You see, I've got an answer. The answer is 527, but it's not. The answer is 6, and all that. If I multiply that again, just to show you, so the answer for this calculation is now 1671124224. It is the weirdest thing in the world, and I reckon you could get into a lot of trouble with calculations. You have to have your wits about you when you're using it. You can't just be adding up 100 numbers off a ledger, and then you could easily just read the number and think, oh, that's the answer, but it's not. They could well be additional digits off to the left. So like I say, it's very, very simple. It's only got 6 digits, but in reality it's got 12, which I suppose makes it slightly better than these calculators, but at the same time it can't do decimals properly. And of course it's got no memory, it's got no percentage. Like I say, it is the weirdest of weirdest things. Instructions on the back as well. So there you go. 3 calculators, all from the 1970s. There you go.